So A Series of Unfortunate Events is a Netflix original series about the Baudelaire orphans, 3 children who lose their parents and their home tragically in a fire. The 3 children, Violet, Klaus, and Sunny, are then placed in care of multiple guardians and discover that there is a secret world their parents were a part of, full of espionage, secret codes, and sinister villains. The Baudelaires use their own special skills to uncover these secrets, all while an evil man named Count Olaf, played by Neil Patrick Harris, and his henchmen try to steal their fortune. So I don't think I can really review this show without talking a little bit about the backstory. This show is based on a 13-book series of the same name that came out a few years back. The books are extremely popular. I myself was a huge fan. I read all 13 multiple times, and I, like most, was super excited for this show, especially after getting a not-so-great movie back in 2004. So as you can assume, my excitement and expectations for this show were really high, and boy did it deliver. So straight from the beginning, this show lets you in on its unique style. You have the narrator, Lemony Snicket, played by Patrick Warburton, introducing you to the story in a very Twilight Zone kind of way, telling the audience to turn away and not continue watching this tragic tale. This is something that was prominent in the books, and they're very macabre, very gothic, and has this really particularly dark humor where the author himself, Lemony Snicket, would interrupt the narrative multiple times to explain things or make the readers aware of what was going to happen later. It's something the show actually does just as well. So the series ends up having this incredibly unique style where many characters talk and act as if they're a part of a story or show. They explain certain events, certain words or phrases, and how certain moments tie into others, which gives everything this sort of awkward Wes Anderson British stage style, which I loved. And that's something you gotta really give to the showrunner, which is Barry Sonnenfeld, and you might remember him from directing The Addams Family Values, Men in Black. A lot of the art design and set designs actually feel really similar to Addams Family, with their dark shadowings, distinct features, and gothic designs. I remember one scene I was watching where the children first enter Camelot's Manor, and I thought, holy shit, this looks a lot like The Addams Family. Then throughout the rest of this 8-episode series, you see a lot of quirky designs, extremely well-made, practical sets, with equally well-done costumes and cinematography that actually match the tone and humor just perfectly. And speaking of that humor, let's talk about the writing. Now, something that was very prominent in the later books was a secret spy organization called VFD. In the show, here they introduce it much heavier straight from the beginning. All over the sets you can see eye symbols in the shape of VFD, which is another really good point of the set design, I gotta give it. And the show is littered with subplots and mysteries revolving around uncovering the secrets behind this organization, which seems to heavily influence both the heroes and the villains. Though the design, the visuals, and the dialogue make it seem really kid-friendly, the show is actually well-written and greatly mature for both kids and adults, but especially for fans of the original books. The show's writing is full of mystery and drama and humor, dealing with some very adult themes like death, loss, suffering, tragedy, but they buffer it with the humor of these characters. And that leads me to by far the best part of the show, the characters. Apparently Daniel Handler, the actual original writer from the books, who worked under the pen name of Lemony Snicket, worked very closely with the production staff when making this series, and boy does it show. They do a masterful job bringing these colorful and eccentric characters to life through clever writing, damn near perfect casting, and a phenomenal jobs from most of the actors. You meet Violet, played by Melina Wiseman, a highly skilled inventor, Klaus, played by Louise Hines, a genius book reader, and Sunny, who actually is voiced by Tara Strong, even though she's played by an infant, a legitimate infant, not just a CGI infant, not all the time, but we'll get to that later. An infant with razor-sharp teeth. The actors playing the children actually do a really fine job of bringing these characters to life, although their acting was actually pretty stiff from the beginning, but over the course of the series, they really relaxed into the roles and made it their own. You actually get a feeling of camaraderie between the 3 characters, especially Violet and Klaus, as they actually grow and learn together through these mysteries and through their series of unfortunate events. Ha, see what I did there? I'm sorry, I'll shut up. But by far the biggest show stealer has got to be Neil Patrick Harris as Count Olaf and his acting troupe of henchmen. Every scene they were in was like a spotlight was shining on Neil Patrick Harris. He did a perfect job, along with some great makeup effects, at bringing this weird and eccentric villain to life. With each passing episode, you get more and more of his backstory and relationship with the characters, but every time he came on screen with a new disguise or a character, Harris showed again and again how perfect his casting was. Even at his wackiest, and trust me, there was plenty of wacky moments, he still came out as this malevolent and twisted force that would stop at nothing to get what he wanted. His interactions with the other characters what really made them shine as well, and made them even more interesting. But unfortunately, no series is without its flaws. As great as it was, it did have some. For one, the narration, as interesting as it was, could get really overbearing and dry at times. There were a few scenes where the build-up and the climax were occurring, a snicket would pop back up on screen, which would simmer things back down and slow, and I'm like, just go, I want to see what's going to go on. And the jokes also didn't always land either. There were, especially in the beginning, moments of attempted humor that ended up feeling more awkward and forced than anything, especially that hourglass joke. You saw it in the trailers, where he picks up an hourglass and says, "Oh, I'm sorry, I bought it online, you're gonna have to flip it a few more times." That really kind of pulled me out of scenes like that, because it just felt too awkward, and especially, it kind of mixed up with the time period. With everything else that was going on in the show, you get this feeling that it takes place somewhere in the 1950s and 1960s, and then you say they had these moments that talk about modern things like the internet, and you just kind of wonder, what is this taking place in? And it really kind of pulls you out of scenes like that. It didn't work, and it still doesn't. But by far, probably the worst aspect of the series has got to be its special effects. I get that in a series you won't have a budget for CGI like a movie would, but if a scene looks like it's not gonna look right with it, then don't use it. Throughout the course of the show, you can see these great scenes of practical sets and effects. You would see them slowly put a few more CGI scenes into, particularly with baby Sunny, as she would do anything action-oriented, and of course, it looked rubbery and fake. But in the 5th and 6th episode of The Wide Window, as it all took place by a lakeside town, nearly every scene was fully green screened, and it looked atrocious. But despite all that, I still absolutely loved and adored a series of unfortunate events. It really brought out everything I loved about the books in a new and exciting way. And seeing as it only drew from the first 4 books, leaving on a heavy cliffhanger, I can't wait for season 2 and where the series will go next. I wish I had more time to touch on the other great things in the show, such as the portrayal of other book characters like Uncle Monty, Aunt Josephine, Sir from the Miserable Mill, Charles, and Mr. Poe, or the introduction of new characters like Jacqueline, a VFD agent that protects the Baudelaires, but just know that they all did a phenomenal job. All in all, a truly spectacular adventure and mystery. I give it a solid 8 out of 10 Olafs. No, not that Olaf. Yeah, that's the one. Sorry, Film Crafters, are going to be putting out any new content for this week. We've gotten busy with our jobs and can't schedule around it. Sorry. As soon as you can, expect to see more content soon. Be sure to like this video, comment your thoughts on the series of unfortunate events, and subscribe to see more reviews and sketches from the Filmcraft team. I'm Andrew, signing off.